From the press box atop Dolphin Soccer Park on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents NCAA Division II women's soccer coverage live on the ECC network. Today's matchup features the Purple Knights of Bridgeport University taking on the College of Staten Island Dolphins. Good morning, everybody. This is Joe Foreman bringing you all of the action during today's game. And for the College of Staten Island, this is their final home match of the 2021 season. The Dolphins do come in having struggled this year. It has been a difficult season for them as they will enter today's match with a record of 3-13-1. The Dolphins have also dropped each of their last three matches, failing to score a goal in any of those contests. The last time CSI got into the goal column was back on Saturday, October 16th, in a 1-0 victory against St. Thomas Aquinas on the road. Since then, the Dolphins have dropped a 1-0 result at home against East Stroudsburg, a 3-0 result on the road at Damon, and then 1 week ago today, the Dolphins fell by a score of 6-0 against Malloy College. The Dolphins within the ECC this year have played to a record of 2-5-1, looking to make it 3-5-1 if they can pick up a victory over the visiting Purple Knights this morning, as we are scheduled for an 11 a.m. kickoff, and typically the final match of the season would mark Senior Day for the College of Staten Island. However, the Dolphins celebrated their lone senior, Mersada Pelinkovic, last weekend, as head coach Brendan Guzman is not here today leading things for the College of Staten Island. Instead, it will be men's soccer associate head coach Alex Cuba patrolling the sidelines for women's soccer during today's match. And, of course, men's soccer coming up next, as the Dolphins men's soccer team will take on the Purple Knights as well. That match is set for kickoff at approximately 2 p.m. and men's soccer will be celebrating their seniors ahead of that 2 p.m. kickoff, but we'll talk a bit more about that at halftime perhaps, or in between games ahead of the men's contest. For the visiting team, the Bridgeport University Purple Knights, they come in with a record of 10-6-1 on the season. And the Purple Knights entering today's matchup with the College of Staten Island, they have won 4 straight, dating back to Saturday, October 23rd, a 1-0 victory over St. Thomas Aquinas. Since then, a 2-0 victory over American International, a big 12-2 victory over Lincoln, and then a 2-0 victory over the Queens College Knights back on Tuesday. Today's match also marks the season finale for the University of Bridgeport as they play in their final match of the 2021 season today as well. In conference, the Purple Knights enter today's match with a record of 4-3-1, so they will finish at least the 500 mark in conference play. And, of course, the Purple Knights are in contention for East Coast Conference playoffs. The Dolphins are not, as they are in the final of 3 provisional seasons in NCAA Division II. This is the Dolphins' second full season as a Division II program. Of course, 2020 was wiped out amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the College of Staten Island, very little has changed in terms of their leading goal scorers. Nadia Evola continues to lead the way with 3 goals. She's also the team leader in points with 6. Mersada Pelinkovic with a pair of goals as well. She has 4 total points on the season. And the rest of the Dolphins who have gotten into the goal column have only found the back of the net one time, those being Jenna Como, Emily Albano, Jacqueline D'Amico, and Donnie Duca. As for the Dolphins, they do have 2 players who will make their 18th start of the season during today's match. And for Jenna Como and Megan Marr, their 18th start in 18 games makes it a perfect season for them, being a part of the starting lineup. They have played in and started every match for the College of Staten Island, the only 2 Dolphins to have earned that distinction this season. Mersada Pelinkovic and Angie Galan have played in 16 games each and started in 16 games. Galan will not be in the starting lineup for today's match. Pelinkovic will, so Mersada will make it 17 games played in and 17 starts in today's match, which will be her final match with the College of Staten Island. As I mentioned, she was celebrated on Senior Day last weekend ahead of the Dolphins meeting with Malloy. And for Pelinkovic, as I just mentioned, this season has a pair of goals, But for her career, it has been a stellar showing for the Dolphins senior, a huge part of what the Dolphins accomplished during her time with the program. And the College of Staten Island, of course, wishes her well in her future endeavors beyond graduation. For the Bridgeport University Purple Knights, they come in being led in goals by Evelyn Hammer. Hammer with 6 goals on the season to lead Bridgeport. 3 other players have scored 4 goals, those being Leanne Ramsey, Andrea Basilicato, and Kate Thill, as I try and navigate the Bridgeport University stat line. Not the same orientation on their website as we have here at the College of Staten Island, and it finally appears that we are ready to introduce starters out on the pitch here at Dolphin Soccer Park. So with that, I will bring the starters to you for both sides. First, for the visiting Purple Knights of the University of Bridgeport, in numerical order, their starters are as follows. Number 4, Samantha St. Pierre. Number 10, Morgan Dodge. Number 11, Amaya Washington. Number 13, Olivia Passett. Number 14, Felicia Svensson. Number 15, Anisha Hill. Number 16, Livia Busin. Number 25, Venetia McReynolds. Number 26, Andrea Bisilicato. 00, Clara Clarkson will be in goal. She also wears number 30, but today will be wearing 00 and working in between the pipes. And then Leanne Ramsey, number 31, rounds out the starting lineup for the University of Bridgeport. And for the College of Staten Island, many of the regulars in the starting lineup for today's match, beginning first with number 23, Ariel Solomon. The rest of the Dolphin starters in numerical order. Solomon wears 0 when in goal. She is wearing 23 today, so Solomon at the top of the Dolphins roster will be wearing 23 today. The rest of the Dolphin starters in numerical order, 00, Sarah Villacrest is in goal. Number 2, Jacqueline D'Amico. Number 4, Emily Albano. Number 8, Nadia Evola. Number 9, Natalie Benitez. Number 12, Bettine Voigt-Penson. Number 13, Isabella Castro. Castro typically comes off of the bench for CSI. She gets the start in today's match. Number 19, Jenna Como, making her 18th start in 18 CSI matches. As I mentioned before, Mersada Pelinkovic, the Dolphin senior, in the lineup, and number 27, Megan Marr, also making her 18th start in 18 matches for the College of Staten Island. We're about 2 or 3 minutes away from the start of Dolphins Purple Knights, and after starting lineups are introduced out on the pitch, the national anthem will be played. So while we wait for that, we will step aside for just a couple of minutes, and after the playing of the national anthem, we will return here on the ECC Network with the call of College of Staten Island, Bridgeport University conference matchup. Coming up next, stay with us. And we're back here on the ECC Network. The College of Staten Island getting set to take on the University of Bridgeport. That match coming up next right here on CSI Sportsnet. Once again, this is Joe Foreman joining you on the call for today's East Coast Conference matchup. And for the College of Staten Island, one final opportunity to get into the win column in today's match. The Dolphins coming in have dropped their last 3. 4 of their last 5. Their last victory came back on Saturday, October 16th against St. Thomas Aquinas. And for the University of Bridgeport, they look to close out what has been a stellar season for them, 10-6-1 overall. And once again, they are in double digits in victories, 4-3-1 in the East Coast Conference. They come in having won 4 straight. So they'll be looking to close the season out with their 5th straight win against the Dolphins team, still looking for their 4th victory of the season overall. CSI comes in at 3-13-1. 2-6 at home so far. So the Dolphins will look to protect their home turf one final time, but they have a very tall task in front of them against a very strong Bridgeport team. And I'll try and pull up the East Coast Conference women's soccer standings as well ahead of today's match and take a look at where the Purple Knights rank coming into today's match. But until then, I'll explain once again that the College of Staten Island cannot qualify for postseason play until next season. This season is the final provisional year for the College of Staten Island as they transition fully into NCAA Division II membership. The Dolphins cannot qualify for postseason play in any sports this year, but that does change next season, as the next time we see women's soccer take the pitch here at the College of Staten Island at Dolphin Soccer Park, they will be eligible for the ECC postseason. So 2022, sure to be an exciting time for CSI Dolphin Soccer, and I do have the East Coast Conference standings in front of me right now, and entering today's matchup, the University of Bridgeport ranks 5th in the East Coast Conference behind Roberts Wesleyan, Damon College, Mercy College, and Malloy College. Looking at the standings at the moment, Bridgeport could surpass Roberts Wesleyan with a victory. That would move Bridgeport to 5-3-1 on the season. If Roberts Wesleyan was to drop their final match, the Redhawks would move to 5-4 overall, and the University of Bridgeport would surpass them, moving into 4th place in the ECC women's soccer standings. The Redhawks, however, are red hot. They have won 6 straight matches, entering what I presume would be their final match, and it should be a conference match to get all of the teams in the conference the same number of conference games, and their final match of the season will be at home against Lincoln, a team that the Purple Knights defeated handily. So if Roberts Wesleyan takes care of business, they finish 4th, the Purple Knights 5th. But the University of Bridgeport looking to take care of business here on the road against the College of Staten Island Dolphins, looking to get back into the win column one final time in their season finale. And we are underway from the College of Staten Island, as Bridgeport sends one long up ahead. Albano is there for Staten Island, and she is able to cut off Leanne Ramsey as the Dolphins head back the other way towards midfield. This is Pelinkovich, but she sends one over the near sideline for a Purple Knights throw. Purple Knights wearing black kits with white numbers on both the front and back of their shirts, as well as on the leg of their shorts. Dolphins wearing their typical white home kits with Columbia blue lettering and numbers, as well as a Columbia blue stripe, a vertical stripe, down the sides of their shirts. Two teams battling for possession in the midfield. Staten Island comes away with it. That's D'Amico sending it back to Castro. Castro up to Evola. Evola surveying, and she finds Voigt Penson. And Voigt Penson was able to keep the ball in along the far sideline, but it winds up with Bridgeport. And the Purple Knights turn it over in the midfield. Dolphins have it once again. This is Voigt Penson. Back to Castro, and closing space quickly with the Purple Knights. They do force the turnover, but give it right back. Good interception by D'Amico. This is Evola. Now Como right back to Evola. Evola, that pass towards Solomon, and on the deflection, Solomon did get it. Voigt Penson is looking for Pelinkovich, and a collision there between Pelinkovich and Basilicato. Dolphins do come away with possession. That's Solomon for D'Amico. D'Amico to Como. Como back to Castro. And Castro looking for Evola. Not a good pass there. It is intercepted by Dodge, but she could not keep it in. Dolphins will throw. Throw in taken by Castro. Knocked up in the air by Voigt Penson, and coming down with it are the Purple Knights. Dodge was able to stay in there. She's moving forward into the attacking third. Sends one toward goal, and it rolls just wide of the far post. It didn't appear as if Sarah Villacrest and the Dolphins were expecting a shot there from Dodge. That shot, our first of the match, just about 3 minutes in. Dolphins looking to bring it out of their own zone, but instead Ramsey able to come down with it. Marr knocks it away. And the Dolphins do keep possession. Pelinkovich towards Benitez. That ball rolling up the near sideline. Basilicato chased it down and sent it back to her keeper. That is Clara Carlson in net for the Purple Knights. Bridgeport brings it up The far sideline now crossing midfield. That's Ramsey who receives the pass. Ramsey moving in toward the top of the box, gives it up. Washington trying to work through a few Dolphins and sends it back to Dodge. Dodge now working against D'Amico. Sends it over to Megan Marr of CSI, who got a foot on it. But the Purple Knights did initially come away with it once again, and now the two teams trading possessions at the top of the attacking third. Good move there by Voigt Penson to avoid a challenge. She finds Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic forced toward the near sideline. Basilicata thought that it would be a throw-in for her team. Instead, Staten Island throws in and will get reset. This is Albano. Sent one up towards D'Amico, who got a foot on it. But Passett comes away with possession for the Purple Knights. That's St. Pierre knocking it up in the air, looking to move into the box. Albano closing in for Staten Island. She got a foot on it, but knocked it over the touchline. So we will have an early corner kick for the Purple Knights as the clock ticks down towards 40 minutes to go in half number one. Samantha St. Pierre will take the corner kick for the University of Bridgeport. Corner kick sent into the center of the box, punched up into the air by Villacrest, and a foul is called against Morgan Dodge and the Purple Knights. Short goal kick by Villacrest sent over to Albano. Now Marr up to Pelinkovic, but getting a foot on it was Busen. Pelinkovic will throw in towards Voigt Penson. Voigt Penson chases it toward the near sideline and runs out of space. Bridgeport throw-in upcoming. To be taken by Basilicata. Short throw to Busen. Benitez applying pressure and forces the turnover. Solomon avoids the challenge, but her pass is intercepted by St. Pierre. St. Pierre navigating through a couple of Dolphin challenges, keeps possession. Ball remains with Svensson and the Purple Knights. This is Hill. Now Basilicata. Basilicata moving into the attacking third. Benitez chasing her down. And that ball is sent over the touchline by the Purple Knights. Goal kick for CSI. Short goal kick once again by Villacrest over to Albano. This is Marr. Marr to Como. Como with a good ball for Pelinkovic, but it's just long. As Pelinkovic made a run up the near sideline. Bridgeport maintains possession off of the throw. As Basilicata sends one into the midfield circle. D'Amico got a foot on it. Here comes Solomon back the other way for Staten Island. Solomon back to Como. And Como sends one towards Evola. And that is sent right back across midfield by Bridgeport. Leanne Ramsey charging in towards Villacrest, but Villacrest able to get it to her backs. Now Pelinkovic to Benitez and right back to Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic sends one through the middle of the Bridgeport back line, but nobody home for CSI. And once again, Purple Knights looking to move forward out of their own zone. Best chance for either side came off of the corner kick. It was a good corner, but it was punched away by Villacrest. Only shot of the match belongs to the Purple Knights. That's Hill. She was looking for Busen, but it's deflected away by the Dolphins. Here comes Pelinkovic working against Busen now. And she gives it up to Como. Como over to Marr and back to Villacrest. Villacrest over to Marr once again and up to Benitez. Pressure being put on by St. Pierre, and the Purple Knights do force the turnover. Dolphins intercept that pass intended for Washington. The ball back out across midfield now. And unable to keep it in was Besilicato. And CSI will throw along the near side. Throw in taken to Voigt Penson. It's back with Pelinkovic. Now Como. Pelinkovic again. Being pressured on the play by Passett. And Staten Island will once again throw along the near sideline. And off of the throw, Bridgeport clears it right back over that same sideline. So Pelinkovic will now throw from across midfield. This is D'Amico with it, just outside of the midfield circle. Now Castro. Up to Evola. Evola working against Dodge, and it seems the pressure is turned up on CSI every time they get close to the midfield. And Staten Island looking to send it into the attacking third, but possession right back with Bridgeport. Here come the Purple Knights back the other way. D'Amico gets a foot on that ball and was able to knock it away from St. Pierre. Possession back with Staten Island once again. This is Evola. Evola up to Solomon, back to Evola. Evola sends one up towards Voigt Penson, who is the closest Dolphin, but not a threatening ball there. As Carlson sends it up ahead. First with it was Hill. This is now Busen. Busen for Besilicato. And that ball too far in front of Besilicato. Dolphins will throw in once again. This is Pelinkovic. Now Marr. And Marr turns it over. Here comes Passett. And she was looking for Washington. It was broken up, but now St. Pierre with it. Here comes Passett. Looking for Washington a second time. And several Dolphins disrupting the pass for a second time, sending the ball over the near sideline. Throw in taken by the Purple Knights into the attacking third. Benitez challenges Busen and once again forces the ball over the near side. Besilicato throws on one hop for Passett. Right back to Besilicato. That one sent into the box. Albano knocks it up in the air. Getting a body on it was Dodge. Evola chasing her down. Shot by Dodge is over the outstretched arm of Villacrest and in. What a shot by Morgan Dodge to put the Purple Knights ahead 1-0 early in the first half. You can't attempt a much better shot than that, as Dodge tucks it beneath the crossbar and over the glove of Sarah Villacrest. A tremendous shot to open the scoring in this ECC matchup. And Bridgeport takes the early 1-0 lead. We saw Dodge attempt a shot from a similar spot earlier. That shot early in the match was wide. And on the second shot of this match, Dodge is able to find the back of the net. Quick whistle. And a Purple Knights possession following the foul call for Dodge. That is her first goal of the season. Quite the wait to get into the goal column. Dodge has only attempted 9 shots in 2021, has already attempted a pair in this match. And that last shot, an impressive one. Dolphins will look to respond, trailing 1-0. They move towards midfield, but Como has it taken away, and here come the Purple Knights back in the other direction. Ball winds up with Villacrest. Both teams now battling along the far sideline. Dodge shielding Castro off the ball. And Bridgeport will possess once again. Purple Knights looking to move into the box with possession right there. That was St. Pierre working against Como, but Como is able to clear. Throw in for CSI, as it was not Como who cleared. The ball last touched the foot of St. Pierre. Dolphins move it along the back line, just inside of the box, and Albano sends it across midfield. Solomon is there. Ball knocked up in the air a couple of times and sent skyward once again by Voigt Penson. Two players settled underneath it. Basilicato and Benitez. Long ball up the near sideline for Busen, and the Dolphins send it over the near sideline. Benitez once again battling against Basilicato for possession, and it's sent back to the back line of Bridgeport. Svensson sends it up to Washington. Washington with a good ball right on target for Passett. Passett will send it in front, and Villacres is able to stop it along the near post. Nicely done there by the Dolphins goalkeeper to shut that attacking play down. Ball rolling toward the far sideline, and Evola can't chase it down. Off of the throw-in, Purple Knights possess. They move out across midfield. It's Basilicato. Nice move to avoid Benitez, and she sends it back to St. Pierre. St. Pierre moves into the attacking third, fires a shot, and Villacres knocks it down off the hop. And the Dolphins send it over the near side, right into their own bench, so the Purple Knights will throw in. Clock ticking down towards 29 minutes to play in half number one. Dolphins trying to get possession back, but since the goal, it has been the Purple Knights dominating time of possession, as that one is sent wide, and no Dolphin got a piece. Off the goal kick, Staten Island looking to move out of their own zone. Pelinkovic trying to control the ball as it was skipping up and down on the turf. Benitez gets it back to Pelinkovic, and chasing her down from behind and taking it away was St. Pierre. Basilicato up to St. Pierre, who avoids the challenge from Voigt Penson, and another from D'Amico results in a whistle. Free kick for the Purple Knights, taken quickly as Basilicato sends one toward goal. No doubt about that. It was a shot attempt, and it is high and wide. So the Purple Knights looking to take advantage, perhaps, of Villacres positioning herself a bit far out of goal, as the first shot that found the back of the net from Dodge was just over her outstretched arm, and St. Pierre, with the pressure there, nearly resulted in a shot from in close. Dolphins now have it along the midfield stripe, and Solomon keeps it that way, but it's forced to send it back to D'Amico, and ball now with Castro. It's D'Amico again. Now Solomon, who redirects, but right onto the foot of Anisha Hill, and Purple Knights take possession. This is Hill again. in the midfield circle. Now McReynolds. McReynolds across midfield. Was looking for Ramsey, and the flag is up for offsides. Pelinkovic has it near sideline. It's redirected into the center of the pitch by Benitez, and Evola trying to get possession for Staten Island. They haven't possessed it in this area of the field yet. Purple Knights done a good job keeping it away from the Dolphin forwards. And now moving quickly across midfield is Dodge. She was looking for Ramsey on that through ball, and Ramsey looked like she had to stop her run to maintain pace with the back line of Staten Island. As CSI will reset once again, trying to get an attacking play started, as they've really struggled to maintain possession out of their own zone, and now the Purple Knights take it away immediately. This is Busen. She was looking for Washington on that pass. The ball is knocked up into the air. Now Basilicato has it. McReynolds over to Passett, back to Basilicato, and now McReynolds again. Svensson moving into the midfield circle, looking for somewhere to go with it. She's winding up for a pass, and it's a good one, right on target for Basilicato. Basilicato working against Pelinkovic, and a hard tackle there. No whistle, and Pelinkovic is down. Basilicato slow to get up as well. Clock yet to be stopped. And Pelinkovic is back to her feet. Both players appear okay. Clock still running with 24:30 to go in the first half. When play resumes, we will have a Dolphins goal kick as that ball rolled over the touchline. Will be a throw-in upcoming for the Purple Knights along the far sideline, as that throw is taken into St. Pierre. Now Dodge working against a Dolphin substitution. Did not hear it announced, but Sofia Espada has checked in for Staten Island. Didn't see who came off the pitch. Staten Island sends one out toward the midfield stripe. Espada and Dodge both chasing, and Dodge gets there first. Now Svensson over to McReynolds, and Solomon nearly got into the passing lane. Ball now at the midfield stripe, off the deflection. This is Basilicato, up to Passett, back to Basilicato, who weaves her way through two Dolphins. Now Washington to Passett. Passett trying to work around D'Amico. Nice give and go there. It's Passett with it. She avoids the challenge, but the shot is blocked by Pelinkovic. What a play there by Pelinkovic, as Passett made a pair of great moves. First ahead of the pass, and then another great move after receiving the ball back on the give and go. Shot taken by Leanne Ramsey is well wide, and it rolls down into the corner. So the Dolphins will have a goal kick, but strong attacking play there by the Purple Knights. Short, quick passes, right on time and right on target, setting up Passett for a quality shot attempt. An even better defensive play by Pelinkovic to come over from her spot along the near sideline and break up that shot attempt. Dolphins possess it just shy of the midfield. This is Voight Penson for Como. Como across the midfield stripe and up to Evola, but Evola overran the ball. And Basilicado being pressured by Evola along the near sideline. Dolphins can't force the turnover, but D'Amico intercepts that pass, and here comes CSI. And Evola gives it away as she looked to make a move in toward the box. Here comes St. Pierre working against Evola near sideline, and Purple Knights will slow it down. This is Hill. Now Svensson. Svensson across the midfield stripe, and moving into the attacking third will be Dodge against Espada, and a foul is called against Espada. Curious to see if Dodge would potentially attempt a shot from here. A bit further out than some of her earlier shot attempts, but I wouldn't rule it out. As that one is sent into the box on a hop, and if that gets by Marr, it could be trouble. It's cleared away, and now McReynolds receives the pass from St. Pierre. It's taken away by Solomon. Solomon gets it over to Voight Penson, who avoids a challenge, retreats a bit. Now moving forward as two Purple Knights close in. It's Pelinkovic. Voight Penson lost it, and there's a two-handed shove. No whistle. Purple Knights did come away with it as Bridgeport moves forward into the attacking third. Two Dolphins all over Amaya Washington. And CSI now moving forward on the attack as Evola sends one well wide of the intended target, Solomon. Dolphins turn it over in the midfield once again, and Purple Knights coming back the other way. Good tackle there by Evola, but Solomon was not expecting the pass. Another good tackle there by D'Amico, but St. Pierre breaking through a trio of Dolphins, and Marr forces the turnover. She now moves into the midfield circle. That's Espada sending that ball towards Solomon, and it rolls onto the foot of Basilicado. That's Hill. Now Washington back to Hill. And Hill with an ill-advised pass there. She gave it up right to Solomon. Solomon looking for somewhere to go with it against McReynolds. Found D'Amico and receives it right back. From behind, that was Passett taking it away. That ball intended for Ramsey. She's charging forward, working against Marr, and a good job by Marr to shield her off the ball. And fortunately for the Dolphins, that one off the foot of Marr travels over the sideline and not the goal line, as that ball took a weird roll off of Marr's foot. And it will be a throw-in for Bridgeport with 18.5 minutes to go in the first half. And off of the throw-in, Purple Knights move into the attacking third, and into the box with the shot was Washington. It is saved by Villacrest, and that one developed quickly as Busen found Washington without a marker nearby, and Washington nearly made it a 2-0 score. Corner kick for the Purple Knights to be taken by St. Pierre. Corner right in front of goal, and it travels across the goal mouth and over the touchline. Last contacted by the Purple Knights. I'm not sure anyone got a piece of it once that ball came down. That might have been straight over several players and over the touchline with no contact to speak of. And Dolphins just made another substitution. Gorette Comohendo checks in. She replaces Bettine Voight Penson. The earlier substitution that saw Sofia Espada enter the game saw Natalie Benitez come out. Kamuhendo has it right now and was looking for Solomon on a give and go, and nothing doing there as Carlson sends it up to Hill. Hill over to Dodge. Dodge moving towards midfield. And she's across the midfield stripe into the attacking third. That ball for Ramsey, who works her way through a couple of Dolphins. Her shot partially blocked. With it in front was Busen, but she was offsides. Free kick upcoming for Staten Island. Purple Knights now crossing midfield with it into the attacking third. Once again, it's St. Pierre. This is Ramsey, and a strong shot by Ramsey is sent high and wide as we will have 3 substitutions coming on. For Bridgeport, it will be number 34, Kate Thill, number 18, Evelyn Hammer, their leading goal scorer. And I believe number 9, Tori Smith, the third substitution. So 3 changes out on the pitch for the Purple Knights, looking to build upon a 1-0 lead. Dolphins hoping to keep this deficit right where it is and eventually get even. But before they can do that, they need a shot. Staten Island still in search of their first shot. As the Purple Knights moving into the box with possession once again. Dolphin is down. And the play continues as the whistle blows. The clock is stopped. And the trainer is immediately waved out onto the pitch. I think that's Emily Albano who is down for Staten Island, unless she came out of the game and I missed it. It was a collision over the ball, and Albano apparently got the worst of it and remains down. She is tended to by head athletic trainer Allison Ocasio. 15:03 on the clock in this first half. These two teams meeting for the first time in the history of these two programs. Right now it is Bridgeport getting the better of this inaugural matchup. Dolphins have met several teams for the first time in program history this season. Many of them East Coast Conference opponents, but some of those teams have faced Staten Island before. Of course, all of us here at the College of Staten Island eager for the Dolphins to be eligible for postseason play. Often the highlight of the season for us working games and for many fans of CSI athletics. And that will finally come to fruition next season in 2022 as Albano is walking off under her own power without a problem. So good to see that. And I did not see if there would be a replacement coming into the game for Albano. Not apparent what the injury was, but Albano is getting set to check back in at the next opportunity. So no change for Staten Island replacing Albano. Emily will check back in at the next chance. And it's a drop ball that will allow Albano to come back in. So Pelinkovic has it and quickly lost it. She was halfway between keeping it and passing it, but that ball from Passett travels through several pairs of feet and over the touchline. Not sure how that one found its way through without anyone making contact, but it's a Dolphins goal kick, and looks like Villacrest will send it the other way this time. She has kicked several short to Albano already in this match. This is Hammer. Now Smith. Smith sends one into Hammer. Hammer shot is just high and just wide as she looked to put that one top shelf in the upper right-hand corner of goal. And if that shot is on target, Villacrest has no chance from in close. Two substitutes, Smith and Hammer, combine to generate a quick scoring chance for the Purple Knights. And Dolphins still looking for some chances of their own. They've been tough to come by in this match and all season. As Thill sends it over to Passett, and it is cleared away by Pelinkovic. This is Komuhendo. Now Como and Pelinkovic towards Komuhendo, and that one rolls over the touchline. Bridgeport throw, taken towards midfield, and the Purple Knights will regroup. Purple Knights taking their time, moving forward. This is Hill. Back to Svensson. And she sends it up to Dodge, who has a lot of room along the far sideline. Dodge was looking for Smith on that ball. Pass broken up by Albano. Now Como trying to keep possession for Staten Island. She does, as she was able to get it over to Pelinkovic in time. Ball now with Marr. And Villacrest has it. Villacrest over to Castro. Castro for Espada. Now D'Amico. Back to Albano. Purple Knights do take possession back. That is Svensson. And Svensson's pass will roll over the touchline. So another goal kick for Staten Island, as most of the action has been concentrated down at this end of the field since very early in this match. And CSI will perhaps look to generate some more attacking play with their most recent substitution. Shirley Hernandez enters, replacing Ariel Solomon. That was McReynolds who went down as Hernandez sends it over. Or I should say it was McReynolds who sent it over and went down, with Hernandez closing in and making contact as Pelinkovic looks to take it into the attacking third. Pelinkovic looking to send one up ahead to Espada, but all over it was Svensson. Here come the Dolphins once again. And that ball, one that D'Amico did not appear ready for. And here comes Thill working against Castro. Thill tried to get it to Smith. Both teams claiming the other was last to touch, and it was CSI that made contact with the ball last. It will be another corner kick for the Purple Knights. This corner will be number 3. St. Pierre to take the corner once again. And she sent it on goal, and I think it might have been saved by Villacrest. Bodies everywhere, and the Dolphins keeper gets on top of it. That is as much traffic in front as you are going to see. Made it almost impossible to tell what was going on, but I believe that was on goal and that Villacrest made the save. I'm going to try and get a look at a replay on my monitor. Unfortunately, we once again have no engineer to my right today. But we'll see if that was indeed saved in a moment, as Thill, working against 3 Dolphins, has it knocked away. This is Espada with the giveaway, and moving forward and shoved off of the ball was Smith for the Purple Knights. Good job to shield Smith off of the ball defensively by Albano, which earns her team the goal kick, and CSI hoping to turn that goal kick into a scoring chance, but it's not to be. As has been the case in so many of their matches that we've covered on Sportsnet this year, the Dolphins have really struggled to generate scoring chances. I mentioned CSI at home is 2-6 on the season. And in 3 of their last 4 defeats here at Dolphin Soccer Park, they have been on the losing end of a shutout. Purple Knights had it in the attacking third, but Komuhendo with a good job defensively to disrupt the dribbling of the attacking player Smith and get it back for CSI. But now, off the takeaway, it was St. Pierre moving in, and she is whistled for the foul following that Staten Island clearance. So it will be a Dolphins free kick. Jenna Como will take it. Dolphins technically are 2-6 at home, as I mentioned, but one match on their schedule was not played here. It was played in Bridgeport, Connecticut, as that shot by Thill is partially blocked and Pelinkovic is able to clear. They actually have one home match on the schedule that was played on neutral turf in Connecticut, and then another road match on the schedule against Queens that was played here at Dolphin Soccer Park. So a very unusual bit of scheduling for CSI. It all evens out in the end, 2-6 on their home turf overall. Purple Knights will throw in along the near sideline with about 6:40 to go in the first half. And if the Dolphins want to avoid a 2-7 mark here at Dolphin Soccer Park, they need to get something going on the attack. Bridgeport has come awfully close to scoring a second goal on more than one occasion already. They've had several quality chances that just weren't on target. And on that last corner, nearly manufactured another high-quality scoring chance. Didn't get a chance to look at that replay yet. Hopefully we'll get a chance to do that on the next stoppage. Dolphins now possess it, moving towards midfield. And quickly it's given away by Como. That pass was partially deflected and then intercepted. This is Basilicado. Basilicado up to Thill. Thill looking for a dodge, and it's sent away by Albano. This is Hill up to Passette and over to St. Pierre. And no doubt about it, that corner kick wound up on goal. If Villacrest is not there, it is in. And the Dolphins commit a foul, which will presumably give, nope, not Morgan Dodge. It will be Samantha St. Pierre first to line up over it. Andrea Basilicado also in the area, and it looks like Basilicado is going to take the free kick, but I was going to say in a very similar spot to where Dodge scored from, as Basilicado makes a bid for the second Purple Knights goal. It is saved easily by Villacrest. This is Komuhendo. She is met by Hammer, and Pelinkovic is able to get it to Evola. Evola gets by one challenge. Was looking for Komuhendo, but Basilikato is there. D'Amico could not intercept, and Marr is able to intercept that pass intended for Smith. Como finds Komuhendo. Komuhendo had some space, but will move back a couple of strides, and Evola turns it over on that pass. Purple Knights now moving into the midfield. Castro initially stifled the pass, but Bill takes it away. That ball on target for Hammer, but fortunately for Villacrest, it rolled into a spot where she could use the hands and scoop it up. 3.5 minutes to play in the first half. Dolphins still trailing 1-0. As Como, looking for somewhere to go with it, finds Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic and Como sending it back and forth. This is Como again off the feed from Evola. Como up towards Hernandez, and McReynolds knocks it away. Dodge finds Passett. Over to Smith. Now Basilikato. Basilikato gets ahead of Pelinkovic. She's moving in, and that ball is sent to Hammer, but she was offsides as the flag went up. 2:45 to go in the first half. Dolphins in danger of going the first 45 minutes without a shot attempt, as Basilikato just takes it away from Komuhendo. Pelinkovic with an attempted tackle. And Purple Knights work it into the center of the pitch. Here comes St. Pierre. St. Pierre works through a couple of challenges, and the shot by Smith is saved by Villacrest. That ball ricocheted off a couple of players in the box, winds up on the foot of Smith, directly over the dot in the center of the penalty area. And Villacrest with the quick reactions to make the save on the shot from in close. Not sure if Smith shot that off the volley or not, but either way, a tough save for the Dolphins keeper. As this corner kick is taken, headed on goal, off the glove of Villacrest and in. Smith nearly found the back of the net on that last shot, and with the header, she puts it over the outstretched glove of Villacrest, who got her fingertips on it. That was not enough, and Tori Smith has given the Purple Knights a 2-0 lead with just over 1 minute and 40 seconds to play in the first half. Villacrest made the tough save on the previous shot, but could not make the save there, as Smith has extended the Bridgeport lead to 2, and the Dolphins now find themselves in an even more difficult spot. Villacrest listed without a height on the official roster printout. I will check the website. But Villacrest needed another inch or two, as another chance brewing here for the Purple Knights, and the shot by Hammer is just wide of the post. Hammer looking to add to her team leading goals right there. She made a bid for number 7. Villacrest completely out of position, and Hammer sent it just wide. Dolphins just need to get out of this half trailing by only 2. And we do not have height listings for women's soccer on our official roster page, but Villacrest, I can't imagine, is any taller than about 5'3" or 5'4" from here, but always tough to tell from up in the booth. And she needed another inch or two on that leap to keep the header from Smith out. Purple Knights might not be done here as Smith attempts another shot. She has been busy since entering the game, And that last goal for Smith was her third of the season. Didn't get a look at the corner kick taker, but it had been Samantha St. Pierre taking the corner kicks for the Purple Knights. We'll get the official scoring on the assist. It is St. Pierre who assists the goal scored by Tori Smith. That goal, the second of this match. The first was scored by Morgan Dodge. And we head into the halftime break with the University of Bridgeport leading the College of Staten Island 2-0. When we come back, the Dolphins and the Purple Knights begin the second half of play here on the ECC Network. And we're back here on the ECC Network. The College of Staten Island and the University of Bridgeport about to get underway in the second half from Dolphin Soccer Park. Our score 2-0 ahead of the start of the second half in favor of the Purple Knights. And they certainly could be leading by more as they had several chances late in that first half. But the two shots that did find the back of the net were taken by Morgan Dodge in the 12th minute and then off the head of Tori Smith in the 44th minute to give the Purple Knights their 2-goal lead. And the Dolphins will hope to chip into that lead here early in the half as they possessed it off of that Purple Knights turnover, but Bridgeport able to get it back. Dolphins now attacking left to right on your screen. The Purple Knights attacking right to left. Several Dolphins surrounding the ball in the midfield as CSI takes possession. Dolphins now moving forward as Voight Penson is forced to slow it down just a bit and turns it over on that pass. Looked like the Dolphins may have had an attacking opportunity brewing right there and immediately lost that chance once Voight Penson turned around with the ball. That was still working against Marr, and they get tangled up. Marr goes down and does draw the whistle. Stats through the first half. Shots favored Bridgeport 10-0. All four corners in the first half belonging to the Purple Knights. Also 4 fouls against Staten Island, a pair against Bridgeport. So all of the numbers through the first half favoring the University of Bridgeport. They certainly dominated time of possession as well. And the Dolphins still looking for their first shot. Now a minute and a half into half number 2. That's Svensson who sends it up toward midfield, but Castro was there to cut off that pass. Ball now in the air off the head of Como. Dodge got a body on it. And whistle against Staten Island. It was Voight Penson guilty of the foul. Hill went down. Looks to be favoring her right leg. This is Passett. Now Dodge. And Voight Penson took it away. Como has it for Staten Island. And there is nobody home over there as Pelinkovic is chasing it down, and she lost her footing. Voight Penson trying to come up with the takeaway, nearly able to move into the box with possession, but McReynolds was there. Advantage right now for the Purple Knights, and play continues. And this one's coming up towards me, and it lands about 5 feet shy of the window to my right. That's about as close as it gets to entering this side of the booth. We did have a soccer ball travel into the opposite end of our press box earlier in the season. And if we had taken bets in the preseason, would a ball find its way up here? We probably would have said no. But it didn't take long for that to happen, as I think it was about 5 or 6 matches in that a ball made its way up into the booth. And Jacqueline D'Amico is shown the yellow card. She took down Leanne Ramsey. Ramsey went down hard right in front of the Purple Knights bench. But she dusts herself off and is okay. on the free kick. Dodge sends it over to St. Pierre. St. Pierre with the shot, and that one is wide. Goal kick for the Dolphins coming up as the clock ticks down towards 41 minutes to play in the second half. Good ball there for Evola, but it tailed toward the center of the pitch instead of the sideline. And that allowed Svensson to get to it first. Not a bad idea on the long ball. Trying to get a look. See if the Dolphins have been held without a shot this year. And they have not. So the Dolphins have not been kept out of the shot column in a match yet. We'll look to keep it that way, I'm sure. Dolphins fans watching and supporters here in attendance certainly hope that they can get into the shot column and make things a bit more interesting in the second half. It's been all Purple Knights so far. Bridgeport looking to move into the attacking third, had that attacking play broken up by Pelinkovic of Staten Island, but CSI sends it over the far sideline for a Bridgeport throw. Dolphins were held to just one shot in each of their first two matches of the season. The first against American International, second against Southern New Hampshire, and then were held to just one shot for a third time against Wilmington. Dolphins have also been held to just two shots on three separate occasions. Dolphins also have not been held without a shot on goal in a match. So CSI hoping to keep things just as they are in that respect as well. CSI will have a goal kick here inside of 40 minutes to play in half number 2. This is Marr up to Pelinkovic. A lot on that pass. And Marr will send it back to Villacres. There is a second ball on the pitch along the goal line. And off the turnover, here come the Purple Knights. That shot saved by Villacres off the foot of Kate Thill. Another shot on goal, and that one rolls just wide. I think that was Anisha Hill on the second shot attempt. Well, Marr committed the turnover on the perimeter of the box, giving the Purple Knights a chance for a pair of quality shots. First is saved, the second is wide. And the Dolphins possess off of the throw-in. Hernandez sends it over towards Benitez. Pelinkovic comes down to receive that ball. That one sent up towards Hernandez, and Carlson got there first. Hasn't been a very busy day for Purple Knights goalkeeper Clara Carlson. Has not faced a shot yet and hasn't had many touches either, as the ball has not been at her end of the pitch very often. D'Amico sends it back to Marr. Marr across the midfield stripe, sends it up to Pelinkovic. Back to Marr. And up to Benitez. Now Pelinkovic has it again. Pelinkovic towards Hernandez, who looks to redirect it in the direction of Voigt Penson. And Pelinkovic goes down on a hard challenge. I think that was Andrea Besilicato on the challenge. It was, and the Dolphins are awarded the free kick. Pelinkovic and Evola lined up near the ball, and it's Evola who receives it from Pelinkovic, moving in, and her shot is saved, and the Dolphins are into the shot column for the first time in today's match. Dolphins have come out a bit more aggressive here in the second half as they may get another shot opportunity. And Evola with a chance. Turns around, sends it to Voight Penson. Her shot is saved once again by Carlson. Bridgeport looking to send it across the midfield stripe, but Pelinkovic is there to intercept. Pelinkovic now moves forward and once again loses her footing. Second time we've seen her go down. First time was without the ball. As Ramsey gets to St. Pierre, a lot of open space. This is Dodge moving in. Dodge finds Smith. She's already scored once, and Villacrest gets there. Dodge scored the first goal on a long shot off the fingertips of Villacrest and under the crossbar, and then Tori Smith scored the second Purple Knights goal on a header. That went in off the fingertips of Villacrest and under the crossbar. If Villacrest had another inch or two of height, we could still be looking at a scoreless match. However, many more quality shots than just the two goal-scoring shots for Bridgeport thus far. Dodge nearly turned it over, looking to send it into the box. And she is able to dribble through three Dolphins and got it to Passett, but now Pelinkovic headed back the other way with speed. Pelinkovic up the far sideline, slowing down a bit. Sends it back to Benitez. Benitez to Marr, and the Dolphins are going the wrong way here. Purple Knights send it back out toward midfield, but Marr got the body on it. It is Basilicado who comes away with possession, and she did keep that ball in along the far sideline. But there are no Purple Knights in the area as Villacrest will pick it up and roll it over to Albano. Albano avoids one challenge from Hill, gets it up to Evola. Evola for Como, and it's sent over the near sideline by Hill. Dolphins will throw. Evola to throw. She gets it back. Voight Penson has room in the corner. Will look to cross, and she sends it straight into the arms of Carlson once again. It has been a much better start to the second half for the College of Staten Island than it was the first half. CSI has spent a lot of time around the Bridgeport goal early in half number 2. Here comes Bridgeport into the attacking third. This is Thill. Thill taking it down toward the touchline, and Albano able to shield her off the ball, and Thill thought that Albano was last to get a foot on it. Officials say no, and Villacrest with the goal kick sends it short to Marr. Marr to Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic over to Marr. Marr avoiding the challenge by Ramsey, gets it up to Pelinkovic. Ball now in the midfield, and Hernandez is whistled for the foul. Basilicado will take the free kick as Ariel Solomon gets set to check in, and if I heard correctly over the walkie-talkie in the room next door, she will be coming on for Shirley Hernandez. This is Svensson up to Dodge. Dodge was looking for Smith, but got too much on it, and it will be another Dolphins goal kick following this CSI substitution. And as I said, it will be Solomon for Hernandez with 31:35 on the clock in the second half. Looked like Thill might have gotten a piece of that ball on its way to Pelinkovic, but Masada goes down for a third time. And the pass was intended for her along the far sideline. Pelinkovic is now tripped without any contact 3 times in the second half, as that one rolls along the far sideline. A lot of unhappy spectators here with that whistle, as a foul was called against the Dolphins, and I apologize for having to cut my audio as they were communicating with me from next door. Should be the last time I have to mute the mics in this one, as Purple Knights now have it in the attacking third. It has been the Dolphins controlling possession for a lot of the second half. Bridgeport looking to change that here, as McReynolds is moving in toward the box. McReynolds crosses in front, and Phil nearly got a foot on it. But instead now Voight Penson sends it over to Como. Como back to Evola. Evola for Castro. Castro surveys and finds Como. Como taken down, no whistle. Evola back to Castro, as the Purple Knights continue to pressure the Dolphins the entire length of the pitch. That's McReynolds with Solomon in pursuit. Now Svensson up to Ramsey, and Ramsey collides with D'Amico, who is hobbled. And she will try and jog it off, as Pelinkovic moves up the far sideline, avoids a challenge, and finds D'Amico. So she's being put to the test here following what looked like it might be a leg injury, and definitely didn't look comfortable dribbling right there. Ball now in the midfield with the Purple Knights, and they send it back to McReynolds. McReynolds for Thill, intercepted by Pelinkovic. Solomon sends it right back to Pelinkovic. Pelinkovic moving in, looking for Solomon, and it's intercepted by Thill. Thill receives it back, and she moves into the attacking third. Ramsey, heel kick on target for Thill, and Albano can't take it away, but Thill goes down, and she is holding her right knee. Whistle blows, and the clock is stopped. Thill is back to her feet, and once again, the whistle always seems to be a bit of a healing agent when a player goes down. They hear that whistle blow, and all of a sudden, they are feeling much better. As we have a drop ball in the box, and Marr will send it away. Ball rolling along the far sideline. Benitez keeps it in. That's Pelinkovic. Now Benitez. Benitez up to Solomon. And Benitez wasn't expecting the ball back. It'll be a throw-in for CSI, and we will have 3 substitutions coming on for the Purple Knights. Number 23, Jordan Lanson. Number 24, Lara Heather. And number 37, Alexa Bowling, come on for Bridgeport. St. Pierre, Ramsey, and Thill come off. With 27:32 remaining in the second half. 3 Bridgeport substitutions, and Purple Knights do possess it in the midfield. That was Heather for Lanson, and back to Heather. Heather moving in toward the center of the pitch, and that shot was partially blocked. Not sure if it was a Dolphin or Torrey Smith who got a foot on it. Villacrest to punt. Sends it out to midfield. This is Bowling along the far sideline, and Pelinkovic forces her to dribble it over the touchline for a CSI throw. This is D'Amico over to Como and back to Castro. Castro up to Evola. Evola moving toward the middle of the field. And Dodge takes it away for a moment, but Evola wins it back. Crowd likes Evola's dribbling to avoid the challenge, as Pelinkovic now has it. This is D'Amico, back to Pelinkovic. Dolphins breaking the press well in the midfield. We'll see if they can move forward. And Solomon almost overran that pass. This is Pelinkovic now for D'Amico. D'Amico looking for Castro. That ball on target, but coming up to get a foot on it was Lanson, and here come the Purple Knights. Albano will clear over the near sideline, and the Purple Knights will throw in. That's Heather. Heather was looking for Passett, but the Dolphins take it away, and Como sends it to a spot where there was no Dolphin to be found. Here comes McReynolds towards midfield, and I don't know about that call. Smith made a sliding attempt for the ball, which is completely a legal play, and looked like the Dolphin nearby, Marr, was also playing the ball. It looked like a clean play on both sides. But as it stands, whistle against the Dolphins for the foul, and off of the free kick, the Purple Knights possess it in the midfield. Evola will intercept the pass, and Evola will knock it up ahead. A good touch there by Evola, moving into the attacking third. And she is dispossessed as that ball is sent over the near sideline. That will give the Purple Knights a chance to regroup. Evola throws for Voigt Penson, who gets ahead on it, sends it into the box where Solomon is there. Voigt Penson will try a left-footed shot, and that is well above the crossbar. Dolphins continue to have a much better time of it on the attack here in the second half than they did in half number one. They've done a much better job of navigating the Bridgeport press as well. Haven't had as much difficulty trying to take the ball out of their own zone, and that has resulted in more attacking chances. Well, I apologize once again as we had more communication coming in from next door. Hopefully, that is the last of it, as our press box is set up with public address, stats, and scoreboard operation in the room to the left, and Sportsnet on the right, with the door separating the two sides, as Dodge has her shot blocked by Albano, and the Purple Knights will throw in from deep in the attacking third along the far sideline. Throw in taken towards Dodge, who sends it into the box, and Castro got a foot on it. Fortunately, it rolls slowly into the arms of Villacres. This is Lanson moving ahead. Sends him through the legs of Evola. It's knocked away by Castro, but Heather is there. Now Svensson up to Passett. Passett looking for somewhere to go with it. Finds Bowling. Bowling has it knocked away by Como. And the ball rolls into the midfield where Solomon is waiting. And from behind, it's Dodge taking it away. But Dodge forced to retreat, and she turns it over. This is Evola, who was looking for Voigt Penson, but getting ahead on it was McReynolds. This is Dodge again. Two Dolphins closing in. And Purple Knights will take it across the midfield stripe, but will turn it over on that pass attempt. That's Pelinkovic. Now Solomon and McReynolds are both there, and McReynolds got a toe on it, so the Dolphins will throw in. right on the perimeter of the attacking third. 21:43 on the clock, as we have now passed the midway point of half number 2. Dolphins trailing 2-0, and time is running out on CSI. CSI looking to keep this one in the Purple Knights zone, and Castro sends it towards Whit Penson. She collided with Svensson, but it's Benitez winning possession for Staten Island once again. Dolphins doing a good job keeping this attacking play alive, but Como with the ball too strong for Evola, who had a lot of space to work with, and it will be another goal kick for Bridgeport. For the Dolphins, barring overtime, just under 21 minutes to go in their season. For Bridgeport, still an ECC postseason to look forward to. We mentioned during the pregame they could finish as high as 4 in the standings. With a win would lock up the 5 spot, as that shot is saved by Villacrest off the foot of Lara Heather. Punt by Villacrest, sent out toward midfield. Make that midfield. As another shot is by Villacrest and just wide. Purple Knights have not been shy about attempting the long shot, that's for sure. And right there, come up just wide again. Bridgeport moving it across the midfield stripe. This is Basilicato, and she goes down on the challenge from behind by Benitez. McReynolds up to Bowling and back to McReynolds. This is Pelinkovic with it, far sideline. Has Marr, and Marr sends one over the touchline. Dolphins substitution once again, as Sophia Espada will check in for Staten Island, replacing Ariel Solomon. That last long shot was once again attempted by Dodge. Not much of a surprise there. Also a couple of substitutions for the Purple Knights.
16 and 19 are in for the Purple Knights. 15 is in for the Dolphins.
Sage Yen checks in. She wears number 19. Entering the game for the first time, and it was Livia Busen, the second Purple Knights substitution. This is D'Amico with Yen in pursuit. And Como comes away with the ball for Staten Island. Quickly turned over by Espada. Now Hill up to Yen. D'Amico challenges, knocks the ball away. And Marr takes down Tori Smith with that tackle. It will be a free kick right on the border of the midfield and the attacking third for Bridgeport, as the clock winds down towards 17 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the second half. Bridgeport looking to add to a 2-goal lead. Basilicato's free kick is blocked by the wall, and the clock is immediately stopped as Evola took that ball right to the face from very close range, and hopefully Nadia is okay. You never want to see a player take a shot to the head, but that one was from very close. Evola is still down. Looked like she may have been trying to sit up initially, but head athletic trainer Allison Ocasio telling her to just stay down. We've seen several Dolphins leave the pitch with injuries so far this year. Some of them not playing in today's match. Donnie Duca in a walking boot on the sideline during today's game, not playing. Macy Jones-Bush left the Dolphins last game injured. It was the third time she's left the pitch injured this season, and fortunately Evola all smiles as she walks off the pitch. Looked like she was grinning ear to ear as she got up, and when you see a play like that, you just hope that the ball didn't hit the player in the nose, because that's usually where it will have the most lasting impact. And Evola certainly appears to be okay, and I'm sure she will need to be evaluated for a head injury at the trainer's table. That looks like it's going to be a quick evaluation, as Evola is still smiling as she sits on the trainer's table. So I would not rule out her checking back into the game, given her reaction walking off. With the injury, it will be another free kick, it appears. And the free kick off of a dropped ball, it appears, will be for Staten Island. And it will. Ball cleared over the near sideline by the Purple Knights, as we are going to have a pair of Dolphin substitutions. And for the final time this season, Sarah Villacrest will leave the pitch, this time in favor of Kayla Francis. Francis, who's had very limited action in goal.
11 and 30 in for the Dolphins.
Will take a position in between the pipes. And I was taking a look at our official roster. Francis no longer on that roster, but I believe that is Kayla Francis. Perhaps she was never in the game program. I'm not sure about that, but the roster I'm going by is out of our game program. And Francis is not listed, but I do believe she is listed on the website where it matters. We'll double check that, as I do believe Francis has accrued some stats in goal this year as well. And for Francis on the season, she has appeared in a pair of games. Those two appearances totaling about 55 minutes. And in that short time on the pitch, she's allowed 6 goals and made 5 saves against 11 shots faced. So Francis will certainly look to improve upon that. And for Sarah Villacrest, she finishes the season having appeared in 17 games, starting 15 of them. She's allowed 42 goals. I don't have a precise number on saves and goals allowed average, given today's numbers have not yet been averaged in, but not a poor performance by any means for Villacrest in this match. Easily could have saved both shots that found the back of the net. Unfortunately for the Dolphins goalkeeper, they rolled off of her fingertips, over her glove, and in beneath the crossbar. She was in position on both of them. Dolphins now moving into an attacking position, as Voight Penson was sandwiched between two Purple Knights, couldn't get it to Espada. Ball now finds the foot of Espada, who quickly gives it away. That was Hammer, who is dispossessed by D'Amico. Now Komuhendo along the far sideline, bowling all over her. She sends it back to Pelinkovic, and Pelinkovic is able to keep it in, and she was. So Pelinkovic didn't appear to think that it was Dolphins' throw, but the head official did not award a throw. That's why. It's a free kick. So Pelinkovic was right to think that she was last to touch, but the whistle blew for a foul as that ball is knocked up in the air by Hammer and headed away. That was Smith finding Bowling. Bowling trying to maintain her footing, and she could not. Good defensive play by Pelinkovic to take it back for Staten Island as the Dolphins swarming in the box, and 3 Dolphins around the ball there as Carlson was able to clear. This is Yen. Dolphins got a piece of that ball and will take it back in the midfield. Como sent one towards Espada and Voigt Penson, but neither able to receive that pass. And here come the Purple Knights. This is Dodge. Dodge working against Castro. Gets a step and is able to find Busen, who has that ball partially blocked. And then Yen sends one up in the sky. It's rolling down toward the corner, and Bowling is able to keep it in. This is Smith for Bowling. And Bowling was offsides. No doubt about that one, as Bowling was deep in the corner. Second whistle blew. And the Dolphins are awarded a free kick following the offsides call, but I thought I heard another whistle come in after the offsides, and play continues nonetheless. This is Albano. Albano for Como. Dodge intercepts, but Albano able to get that ball away from Dodge, and now D'Amico finds Espada. Espada was looking for Voigt Penson. Ball with Espada again, and it's over the near sideline. Castro will throw. Voigt Penson has it. And that's over the near sideline. Throw for the Purple Knights taken by Dodge up to Basilicado. Dolphins quickly take possession back and give it away just as quickly. Basilicado retreating back toward midfield. This is Svensson. Svensson was looking for Smith. Albano cuts off that pass, wanted Solomon, but it's broken up by Yen. This is D'Amico, who just got a foot on it for Solomon. We'll make that Comuhendo far sideline. Solomon and Comuhendo working side by side as Pelinkovic moves forward. Pelinkovic met by a challenge, able to keep possession, but Voigt Penson could not. And here come the Purple Knights. That ball right on target. Here comes Smith. One-on-one with Francis Marr in pursuit. Smith with the shot, and that is by Francis and in. Tori Smith with her second goal of this match to put the Purple Knights ahead 3-0. And Bridgeport has now broken it open. They extend their lead to 3. As I will have to get a look at who it is that assisted Smith on that goal. It was a picture-perfect through ball, and good dribbling by Smith as well to work around the challenge from Marr, who was in pursuit. And Francis did get a piece, but was unable to make the save. And the first shot that Francis faces finds the back of the net with just under 11 minutes to play in the second half. So I'm getting a look at the replay right now to make sure the right player is credited with the assist. The goal for Smith, her second of the match, and her fourth of the season. Assist on the goal to Livia Busen. So Busen picks up the assist, Smith the goal, and Bridgeport now leading 3-0. For Busen, the assist is her second. And a whistle is blown against CSI. Free kick upcoming for Bridgeport. 3 substitutions waiting to come on. Michaela Duhame is one of them. Shyla Murray another. As this free kick is sent into the center of the box, and Dolphins clear it away, but not very far. As Passett finds Hammer. Hammer sends a cross off of Marr. Now Hammer finds Passett, who shoots, and it is saved by Francis. Ball back on the foot of Basilicado, and that shot was partially blocked. Actually deflected off of a Purple Knight. So, as I mentioned, Duhame coming on, Murray coming on, and Amaya Washington checks back in. Washington got the start. Yen, Smith, and Bowling coming off for Bridgeport as the Dolphins possess it near the far sideline, and Pelinkovic is met by Hammer over the ball. Both teams pointing in opposite directions, but it will be a Dolphins throw-in as Shirley Hernandez will check back in. And for Bettine Voigt-Penson, she likely leaves the pitch for the final time this season. Off of the throw, the Dolphins sent it straight back over the far sideline. The Purple Knights will throw in inside of 8 minutes on the clock as Komuhendo was working against Passett, lost the ball, and here come the Purple Knights the other way. This is Duhame. Duhame was looking for Busen, and Francis is able to get there and clear it over the far sideline. Francis receiving a lot of encouragement from the Dolphins bench. Also getting some encouragement in the form of cliches from the crowd. And Basilicato's shot was blocked. This is Dodge. And Dodge, with a touch too strong, sent it over the near sideline. Off of the throw-in, Bridgeport has it right back. This is Washington. Washington for Busen, and the flag is up for offsides. Free kick for the Dolphins from the penalty area. 6:30 on the clock. Bridgeport will now throw in along the far sideline as the Dolphins don't make much of that free kick. Purple Knights have it along the far sideline. This is Duhame. Basilicado now battling with D'Amico, who finds Pelinkovic on the heel kick. And Washington looking for the takeaway. Pelinkovic doing a good job to stay with the play, and she draws the foul. Off the free kick, it's Castro with it. Dodge intercepted that pass intended for Espada, but Espada continues to fight for it back. And it's sent over the near sideline for a Bridgeport throw. Dodge takes the throw out toward midfield. Headed across the midfield stripe. This is D'Amico, who goes down. No foul call. Play continues with Komuhendo. Hammer takes it away, and Hammer's moving up the far sideline. Komuhendo giving chase, but Hammer sends it into the box. Albano knocks it up in the air. Purple Knights still able to keep it in the box. Busen looking for a shooting lane, and Hammer found one. That shot was blocked by Albano. Follow-up shot by Busen is by the diving Francis and in. Livia Busen beats the Dolphins' backup goalkeeper just inside of the post as she tucks one into the lower left-hand corner of goal. And the Purple Knights have tacked on 2 more in the past few minutes. They now lead 4-0 with 4:33 left on the clock. Dolphins have done a pretty good job controlling possession in the second half, but unfortunately for Kayla Francis, since she has checked in, she has been under a lot of pressure in half number 2, much more so than Villacrest was in the second half. A lot of pressure on the Dolphins' starting goalkeeper in half number 1. So the Dolphins' deficit is 4 as we enter the final 4 minutes of this match. Here comes Busen again. Finds Passett, and Passett sends one weakly towards the corner. So for Livia Busen, that goal is her first of the season. And she may have a chance to add on another here, but a good defensive play by Albano staying with Busen and forcing Purple Knights to regroup in the midfield. Svensson doesn't want to take much time to do that as she's now moving in on the attack. And she was looking for, I believe that was Murray. That was Murray at the top of the box, and the whistle blows. I believe it was Murray whistled for the foul. She tried to get possession of the ball in a scoring position, and this is Solomon for Como. Now Castro. Castro can't find anywhere she wants to go with it and sends it dangerously to Como, who was flanked by 2 Purple Knights. And now moving forward with it is Duhame. Duhame's pass intercepted by Albano. Albano moves across midfield. Albano sends it up to Komuhendo. Komuhendo back to Albano for Pelinkovic, but that was partially deflected, and the Purple Knights take possession back. A lot of space here for Busen, and the Bridgeport bench cannot believe the flag went up, and I'm not sure I can blame them on that one. Busen looked to be onside from up here. I'm seated right along the midfield stripe, so I don't have a perfect angle, but I have a good one. And there's a nice move dribbling by Murray as she moves in, and Murray goes down, and clock is stopped as I think Murray may have hit her head on the pitch on the way down. Now, the head official attempted to wave the trainer on. Help does arrive from the Purple Knights bench, and I think Murray is being taken off with a head injury being a possibility. When play resumes, it will be a free kick for Emily Albano and the Dolphins. As we do have some guests in the booth as we begin preparations for Senior Day men's soccer. Coming up next here on the ECC Network, Tariq Eastman, Bryant Navarro, and Brenny Salas to be honored ahead of the Dolphins match with the Purple Knights. Men's soccer up next, and for all of our loyal viewers who have tuned in to women's soccer all season long, of course, we invite you to join us for men's soccer. But for those of us, or I should say for those of you who will not be joining us, as we'll finish that thought after this potential scoring chance. Here comes Murray. Her shot saved by Francis and cleared away by Albano. So Purple Knights not taking their foot off of the gas in the closing minutes as the clock is stopped. Espada wanted a Dolphins throw-in, but had official ruling otherwise. But as I was saying, for those of you who have joined us all season long for women's soccer, of course, we invite you to join us for the men's broadcast coming up next here on the ECC Network. But for those of you who will not be tuning in, we thank everyone who has followed our broadcasts all season long. And for fans of basketball, basketball begins next Friday night with men's basketball as that shot is sent high and wide. And with 35 seconds left on the clock, that should do it for this one. And women's soccer returns to the pitch in 2022, eligible for the East Coast Conference postseason. So, of course, we all look forward to that. Of course, another NCAA Division II recruiting class, this one not on the heels of a global pandemic, which should help things play out a bit more smoothly.
9, 8, 7.
And the final seconds tick off of the clock here in the second half as the Dolphins drop their final match of the 2021 season, an East Coast Conference meeting with the Bridgeport University Purple Knights. Our final score in Game 1 of today's ECC doubleheader, Bridgeport 4, Staten Island 0. For the Dolphins, they will finish the 2021 season with a record of 3-14-1. For Bridgeport, they finished the regular season 11-6-1. The 4 goals scored by the Purple Knights. First, the scoring was opened by Morgan Dodge. It was her first goal of the season. Tori Smith then scored the next 2, the first on a header and the second on a shot from in close in the middle of the box. Those goals for Smith, number 3 and number 4. An assist on the first Smith goal went to Samantha St. Pierre. The final Bridgeport goal was scored by Livia Busen. That was her first of the season. And for the Purple Knights, they shut out the College of Staten Island by a score of 4-0. So, again, we invite you to join us for the men's broadcast. That is coming up next on the ECC Network.